In this demo, we'll be going over the identification section in detail of a license record. Going to navigate to Licenses, All Licenses, and open up one of these licenses. I'm going to choose this IBM license here. By default, the license opens to the Compliance section, and we're going to navigate to the Identification section. This first field is where the publisher would be populated. If that publisher is populated in the purchase you use to create this, or that publisher is for one of the applications assigned, that would be automatically populated. This can be changed or populated by hitting the search. The name field is the name of the license, and it does default to the primary name of the application for this license. This is clear text, and you can modify these license names and come up with a standard that makes license management easy for you. This next section is license type. In this case, this is an IBM PVU license. The license type is what determines how this would be measured from a compliance perspective. There are many license types within Flexera 1. Knowing what each one of those does is very important. In most cases, if you're using a SKU or one of the license models that we have available within Flexera 1, this would be automatically set for you. But there will come a time when you need to create a license and it's not in part of our content. My suggestion is remember that you can navigate to the Identification tab of a license record, and if you would hit our help, it should take you right to the Identification tab section where you could select the license types, and this will give you each individual license type. It will also walk you through how this license type works and is calculated. What are the product use rights, group assignments, consumptions, if it's included, compliance, what happens if you change from this type or change to this type, how it just calculates. So keep in mind that's available for you from the Identification tab. This next field is copy version and addition to the most recent application. This is usually always checked by default, and that version and addition can change, and this prevents you from having to go back in and change names periodically as new versions or additions come out for licenses that you have active maintenance on. I see this always checked, and then it would populate the version in addition, if available, from the applications on the Applications tab. Next field is duration. You can see this is a perpetual license, means that I can continue to use this license for an unlimited term as long as it either has active maintenance or up to the version that was current when maintenance expired. So it is a perpetual license. There are also subscription and time-limited licenses. When you see a subscription or time-limited license, you'll see that you will be able to populate an expiry date for that license. These license types expire. Once the term has run out, your entitlement runs out with those. I'm going to put this back to perpetual, and you can see set as perpetual, there is no expiration date on a license. Next section is status. There's several statuses here. What I see used as a best practice most often is licenses that you want to be consuming would be in an active state. If you retire a license, it will no longer contribute to the reconciliation, meaning nothing will consume against that license. There are other ones in stock showing that you can label your licenses in stock, so it makes it easy for people to look for what's in stock. You can label that as purchased. You made a purchase, but they have not been received yet, or you can mark them as received. What I see as a best practice is either active or retired used. In this case, you'll see on most licenses, depending on the license type, you might see some additional fields on this identification tab. This IBM license has one called Points Rule Set. You'll see some that are for resources consumed, metrics, and a couple others as you walk through different license types. This is a Points Rule Set license type. In this case, I could open up that particular Points Rule Set by clicking the folder, or if it was blank, I could assign the appropriate Points Rule Set for that. The next section is category. This is where we can put a category on our license record, as we can with most records within the system. You can use the default hardware or software categories and their substructures, or you can create your own. Earlier in our class, we created some. It could be added. This is my license category. It can be added as such. There is also on the identification tab, if there is a serial number for this license that is good for all of the quantities on that license, this is where that could be recorded. Next one is a notes field where you can add notes for this license record. Last but not least is license keys. This is not where you would go to assign or manage those. This is where you would go to enable the ability to assign and manage license keys. Right now, you'll see there are no license key rules for this particular license. You could hit change, and you can see there are many different license key rules. There's one multi-install key per application, a multi-install key per installation, a multi-install key per license, or a single key per each individual installations. This is the one that I see utilized the most from a best practice perspective. Once the license key rule is enabled, the properties for that will appear on the other tabs where they can be managed. I'm going to enable it on this one so we can review that when we get to our consumption tab. And you would enable that by clicking Save.